Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to a new episode of the Inspired Disorder podcast. My name is Ray Taylor. If you want extra content from Inspired Disorder, including the video version of this show, go over to patreon.com/Inspired Disorder. That's patreon.com/Inspired Disorder. You get the video version of this show as soon as it's uploaded to the internet, whether that's before the release date of Tuesdays or not. You get extra content. You get making of videos of all of the many faces, as well as the Photoshops that I do and any other future projects. The making of videos will be up there as well. You will also get first look at all of the many faces before they are released on a daily basis to the public. So you have first opportunity to purchase the artwork as well as save a massive amount when you order anything from inspireddisorder.com with the exclusive members-only discount code that you get when you sign up at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. For the first 100 subscribers, members, you get in. The membership fee is only $1. This is the early subscriber rate. That's for the first 100 people to sign up over at Patreon. Then it goes up to $3. Not that much more. But go over, and the first 100 people get in for $1, and you get all of that content for your membership. Right now, there are no differences between the tiers. But I have some goals up there, so go over there, check it out, help support the podcast, help support all the artwork that I do and all the projects that I work on, and do that. A quick update before I get into this episode. I'm going to talk about Incredibles 2 in this episode, and a little bit about a certain person that is no longer with us. But before that, I want to give out some updates real quick. InspiredDisorder.com. I'm working on adding more content, basically making the older work that I've done, older artwork, kind of fleshing out my portfolio a little bit better on there, so you can see my older artwork, older podcasts. And this podcast specifically, the Inspired Disorder podcast, is going to, right now there's only one, well, I guess this would be the second episode available through the new feed. I had to switch over hosts from SoundCloud, which I've been using for many years, and I love it. But I just don't require the service for what I used to use it for. And now it's just hosted through Squarespace, which is the website I've been using for probably close to a decade now. Before, I used to design all my websites from scratch, and now I've been very happy with Squarespace. And one of the features that nobody talks, they're not even a sponsor, but I love Squarespace because they've definitely sponsored podcasts in the past, very early on. But one of their features is a podcast feature. So if you are looking to become a podcast person, you also want a website. You want to have like a fully functional, everything can happen. You want a website that can, host your personal blog or sell merchandise, show your photography, show your artwork. You also want to use that to, do podcasting. Maybe you want to host multiple podcasts. Well, you can set up Squarespace. They have that available. So I've been using it forever, and they've definitely made it easier for podcasters as far as updating new episodes and things like that. But yeah, so I've switched over. So that's kind of the new feed. All of the previous episodes, the back episodes, I'll probably update the iTunes feed to catch up with the current IDP. But all of the past episodes with like Keith Spurlock, the many years, probably 200 episodes, and then Justin King and Derek Helmer back before that. All of those episodes, if you want to dive in, I'm going to eventually, hopefully soon, within the next month or so, make those available at through Patreon as a new bonus when you are a member. Yeah, so that's it, everybody. I think that's all the updates. Website updating, the podcast feed updating. That's it. InspiredDisorder.com though for all of my work. That's what that's my main website. Besides Patreon. Patreon is where you get all the bonus content. So yeah, so this episode I recently watched, just came out, Incredibles 2. It's been, I believe there was like this weird intro before the movie where all the voice actors like Samuel L. Jackson and shit, they all go on and they're like, it's like they're trying to sell you on watching a movie, going to see a movie it's been a while since, the original came out, so it's a long wait for a sequel. And it's like they're trying to sell you on going to see that movie when you're already in the fucking theater. Like, I'm literally here to see this movie that you're telling everybody to go see. Another thing that I've noticed going to the movies, I watch a lot of movies, the super rich Asian family, there's this promo. There's like the trailers and everything. I don't know exactly what the name of the movie is, but it's like this rom-com. It's a complete Asian cast, and it's just, this girl's going out with this guy, and this guy ends up being like super rich, having a rich family, and it's all about the trials and tribulations of dealing with wealth. I don't know. It's like a very standard rom-com thing, but with an Asian cast. I'm sure it'll do well, in that market or whatever. But it's annoying. It's in front of everything, it seems like, except for this one, of course, because it's Incredibles. It's like it's not. I guess it could be the theater I go to, because different theaters program different things to play in front of the movies. But yeah, that super rich Asians or whatever it's called. I'm so annoyed with it. But yeah, there's the full acting cast or the voice cast of The Incredibles was like, it's totally worth it. Your wait has been worth it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for coming. It's kind of weird. It's very weird. There was a similar thing at the beginning of A Wrinkle in Time, which that movie was dog shit. But it was like this promo thing where it's like, thank you. This movie employed all of these people. Like, it's the saddest thing when you're about to display a piece of art, right? And you're like, the big thing you're promoting is like, shout out to Liquitex for the great paints and the fucking brushes that I use. They're, 100% synthetic boar hair, and like, I don't know. It's just like, what are you doing? Like, you're trying to gain sympathy for the audience before they see the movie. This one wasn't necessarily trying to gain like sympathy though. It was basically like, I know it's been a long time. This isn't gonna suck. It's super weird. So Incredibles, of course, it's full of kids. I'm a single guy. I go see movies by myself all the time. I think it's wrong in our society that I can't just go to a park and hang out just because it's like fucking grass area. If I don't have a kid, like, I'm looked down upon. Horrible. I'm searching for equality. Not all men are pedophiles, all right? Some pedophiles are women. Legitimately happens. Nobody wants to talk about it. That shit happens. But yeah, so Incredibles, I'm there. One of the few times I showed up to the movies and didn't, smoke before, didn't get high, love to watch movies high, but this was kind of a spur of the moment thing. And I went in and watched it, which was fine. It's not like I need weed to watch a movie, you know. and it's a kids movie. I'll probably watch Tag High because that's a funny comedy. It's like, encourage laughter. I'll probably eat an edible. Probably eat an edible before I go watch Tag because that's another movie that came out this week. But Incredibles, sat on the side, bunch of kids, and it's the loud theater, so it's like I don't even give a fuck anymore. It's like I go because with Movie Pass, it's like it feels like the movies are free because I go watch multiple movies a week. And so like when I'm in there, I don't like if I had to pay, if I was paying like $10 a ticket, every time I went to see a movie and there's like people on their cell phones and like yapping and fucking, just being annoying as fuck. Like then I'd probably, and at first, because there's other times if you watch or listen to Ray Loves Movies, which is a short-lived podcast that I did, which is basically like what I'm doing now, just talking about movies. When I first got out to the Valley, when I started the podcast, I was like, I'm just going to review movies. I got Movie Pass, and there's a bunch of theaters out here. And it's like most of the theaters I went to were full of old people that did the exact same thing. Would talk, would fall asleep and snore, would fucking get up and move around, would use their cell phones. They're doing the exact same thing. Like I go to the ghetto theater, and it's a bunch of fucking just, big Mexican families, just like 30 kids, and everybody's got to get their seats. Everybody's got their tubs of popcorn. And it's like everybody's using their cell phones to either illuminate their path or talk to their friend or close business deals. I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of communication going on during the movie. But I don't mind it. Like, I'd rather have that than just, like, old, rich fucking white people do the exact same thing in, like, super comfortable chairs that I end up falling asleep in anyway. I'm one of those people that snore. But yeah, so I'm at this theater, Metro 8 in Indio, and there's a little preview movie, as Pixar is one to do. Very interesting. It's kind of weird. It's like definitely it's kind of weird seeing the shift. You're definitely seeing a lot more Asians in movies, which is fine. I love the diversity, all that kind of shit. I hate when they fucking whitewash a movie where it's like clearly supposed to be an Asian person or a black person or whatever, and they make it a white person. It's like there's plenty of people of all kinds. It's like pick the right crayon. It's like if I'm coloring a picture, I don't fucking call the sun blue. I don't color the sun blue and pretend the sun is blue. It's like, why don't you do something authentic? Why don't you have some authenticity to the artwork that you're doing and not fucking insult the audience because you're trying to make a few more bucks? But now that the Asian market's opened up, China's opened up to movies, you see a lot of blockbusters that are dog shit, like the last Jurassic Park movie with what's his face from Parks and Rec, which I like him. I think he's a great actor. I think he's funny. I think he's charming. Whatever. Guardians of the Galaxy, great. Love him in that. This he's basically Harrison Ford. They're trying to make him Harrison Ford. He was supposed to be, might still be, the new Indiana Jones. I hope not. It's just too much. It's like a weird typecasting. Like he could do any of those things, but like I don't want him doing all of those things. And the last Jurassic Park was just stupid. And this one, I'll probably watch it, but I'm not gonna be surprised if it's bad. I don't even know how I got there. How did I get to that dude? I don't know. It's weird. But the preview, that did well in Asia. I don't even know why. I think it was just is new in that market because they didn't have like casting specific that I can remember where it was a bunch of Asian actors. That's definitely more of a common thing. Anyway, Incredibles. Or no, the preview. It's like this like it's clearly a mom, ends up spoilers. It's adorable. There's this weird thing. She's like making dumplings, and then she's like, she's a wife, and the husband going off to work and ate his dumplings all super quick, and she, she's eating the dumplings, and one of the dumplings, comes alive. It's like super cute, grows a nose, grows some legs, and fucking and arms and all that kind of shit. Definitely like it anthropomorphizes food, basically. Instead of animals or toys, it's like, oh, the food came alive. And then she treats this dumpling. I'm totally spoiling this, by the way. Watch it if you want. But she like raises this dumpling. Like they eat donuts together, or whatever facsimile it's supposed to be. And the dumpling grows up and wants to leave the house, and she goes fucking nuts. And he leaves, he comes back, and 'cause she's so worried about protecting him, because he's the dumpling was roughed up a few times, and the dumpling got smashed in, and she had to like redo the pastry. It's kind of a weird metaphor, kind of a weird subject to humanize. And the dumpling wants to leave, gets a girlfriend, gets married, wants to leave, but then she doesn't want that to happen. So what does she do? She eats the fucking dumpling. When she ate the dumpling, because the dumpling was like adorable, right? Pixar knows how to do adorable. Pixar knows how to do things in such a way that just shatter your emotions, right? They'll make you cry harder than Philadelphia or Schindler's List, right? More consistently than, I guess, Spielberg, right? Did he do one of those? Hair on that, and it was annoying me. Sorry for the noise on the mic. But it was fucking disturbing. This woman who made this baby thing eats it like a bear. A bear. Everybody that thinks bears are cute. Bears eat bears. They're cannibals. They're not cute and cuddly. They're giant monsters, and if they're hungry enough, they'll eat baby bears, which are called cubs. Education. Thank you. You're welcome. Appreciate it. No problem. Go learn more. And then the whole thing's a metaphor for her child that left and just was estranged and, got married. It's the same. It's kind of a weird, the endings, it's kind of a dark Pixar as far as like the pre-Pixar movie, short films that they tag, that's like dark. It's weird. Like when I saw her eat the dumpling, I was like, there are kids that are scarred somehow. There's trigger warnings. Like I never thought I'd watch a Pixar movie and think, man, I wouldn't be surprised. Like that's crazy. Because you get emotionally attached to this dumpling in a weird way, and then when she eats it, it's like, oh Jesus Christ. But yeah, anyway, Incredibles. The movie starts, and it's great. It's such a fun movie. For sure, go watch it. As far as like sequels go to like movies in general, it's really well done. It changes up everything, kind of builds on everything from the first one, where you're introduced to everybody and you see their powers. This one, it kind of flips it around because of the plot, which is so fucked out. As far as like superhero movies specifically, from The Watchmen to the Avengers to X-Men to, I'm sure there's probably been, I think the Batman versus Superman, there was a thing where there was like, it's just like every fucking superhero movie has to have the movie where the plot is we're making it illegal to be a superhero or to use your powers. For some reason, superheroes are underground. And this is the exact same fucking thing in this movie. And I'm so, as far as movie tropes go, for a new kind of genre of movies that have come out, the superhero movie, this is by far the most fucked out premise to make. It's just like, I don't know what point you're supposed to make, right? Are you making the point that like people that have extra ability, like maybe with guns, should, it's like they're just because like, I mean, but also like, or is it like a social thing where it's like equal rights? Because we do live in a time where there's a lot more equality than ever before. So it almost feels like fighting for the right. Like, I don't know what they're fighting for. I don't know what it's analogous to, because it's been so fucked to death. Like, I don't care anymore. It's like, okay, people with special abilities, they should be given the opportunity to save everybody despite causing massive chaos. It's like Riggs and Murtaugh causing, like, blowing shit up in LA, or fucking every goddamn the Bad Boys. Like, that's another fucking action movie trope where it's like this buddy cop duo, they destroy half the thing. Well, it's like now we have comic book movies, superhero movies specifically, where like they just destroy all kinds of shit in major cities. Like 9/11s in every movie. So then there's like, oh, we have to have politics in this fucking comic book movie, this kids movie. We have to have, it's like, we don't have enough politics in the news. We don't have enough politics in social media. We need fucking politics in a goddamn Pixar film. But aside from that, aside from the fucking politics and me just kind of seeing where everything was going, like I knew where the whole movie was going from the get-go. There was no surprise when the bad guy showed up. It's just like, oh, like this is the kind of tech. This is like, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's probably not hard to figure it out. It's not like I See Dead People, Sixth Sense kind of. I figured that shit out. It's like pretty simple to see who the players are and what the players do and what the villains do and how it's easily relatable. It's like if the murderer was leaving paint spatters everywhere and then Banksy was in the movie, you wouldn't be surprised if Banksy was the fucking murderer or the one being framed for the murder, but clearly going to be tied for it, you know? But other than that, I enjoyed the movie. I mean, that's just kind of the illegality of superheroes is kind of just how it's used well in this movie, far more than the Avengers, where it's just like a movie of them discussing signing paper. It's basically like the side plot to Dazed and Confused, where the football players have to sign this fucking agreement that they're not going to smoke weed or whatever. It's like that's what What I don't remember what it is. Maybe not the Avengers. It was probably like Captain America, one of the Marvel MCU movies, where the whole thing was like Captain America doesn't want to sign this paperwork, but then Tony Stark wants him to sign it. It's like, oh, I'm so glad Marvel dipped their toe in politics. I'm so happy that they're breaking down this fucking. It's so stupid, man. So stupid. But yeah, Incredibles 2 was a lot of fun. The kids are older. They're going through new things. The house was sick. The car was sick. If you watch the movie, you know what I'm talking about. The baby is awesome. It's just a really fun follow-up to the original. And like all of them said before the movie, which made me like, I don't know why you need that. Just they bought the tickets. I don't know why you're sucking their dicks after they already bought the tickets. Just show them the fucking movie. Thank you so much. It's going to be so great. It's well worth the wait. But yeah. Incredibles 2 was a lot of fun. I'm so tired of fucking that. Whatever. But yeah, some fun movies this summer. I have a feeling Incredibles 2 could do well. I mean, kids movie is probably the fullest I've seen. And kids, surprisingly, that movie's like 2 hours long with like, you go to a movie theater, movies 2 hours long. Trailers nowadays are easily a half hour. So many fucking trailers. And then there's commercials that are disguised as student films and bullshit. But yeah, just so many. So it's like 2.5 hours. And there was like, considering how many kids were in that theater, they were all really well, paid attention. And it was funny. I enjoyed the movie. There's a lot. It's good to see in a crowd of like it was almost better watching it in a theater full of like families and kids. I mean, that's the audience, and they react to I reacted to the same thing they were reacted to, as far as laughing at the same moments and being just fucking utterly amazed that this woman just ate her child. Uh, in the preview, not Incredibles, but yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of fun. Be interesting to see how well it does. Uh, Tag is another movie that came out, which is directed by the same guy that did. There's a show on Comedy Central called "This Is Not Happening," and created by Ari Shafir, and recently taken away from him and given to somebody else. But the intros, which I don't know, are still I haven't watched the show recently. I haven't been up to date on it. But the guy that used to do all the intros when Ari was the host and creator, uh, he went on to film a movie called Tag, which a bunch of comics are in. John Hamm, um, dude from a bunch of movies that I can't think of. What was that one? Hurt Locker. I'm pretty sure that's the movie he was in. Yeah. So that's out, and American Animals, I think, based on a true story and kind of filmed with the real people that were involved in this heist movie. I should be going to see that Monday. So, this comes out Tuesday, so maybe I'll put out an extra episode later in the week for a couple movies, because I'm recording this early. Usually I'll wait till like a Monday to record this, or even Tuesday, actually. I've done it. But I'm recording this on a Saturday because I said I was going to help my friend with the lawn, the grass cutting, and she's out of town with her kid, visiting the kid's grandpa, for the Father's Day thing. And yeah, so I decided to do it this morning. And thankfully, the weather helped out. Super humid, overcast and humid yesterday, but still up in like over 100 degrees. And today it stayed under, I think it was under around 90 degrees. Still humid, but not nearly as bad. So it was actually really nice outside. Got a little burnt, I think, that happens. That happens. It was fun. It wasn't fun. It was nice though. It was nice. I enjoy. It's kind of like a meditation in a way, because it's like, at the end, it's a pretty easy project. At the end, you get to look back and see the work that you did. See, it looks way better because it's, she's trying to grow the grass back because went through a transition or whatever. So the grass is coming back, and it always looks good. It's like getting a fresh haircut, which I never get. I do give myself haircuts, but it's like there's always like, it's visually pleasing to see something that's uniform and evenly dispersed. Like, chaos is difficult on the eye. That's why people like patterns, people like repetition. That's why music works and certain artworks, movies. There's always like a rhythm to like the editing. There's something that's built inside of us that it's not our fault for just being drawn to it. But yeah, so I did that, and it just fucking exhausted by the end. I took a dip in the pool, which is like a little kiddie pool. I don't know if I mentioned it before. It's it's a few feet high, not super. It's you can't swim in it, but you can float in it, and it's super nice way to cool off. So I hopped in there afterwards, cooled off, just was exhausted. Tried to take a nap, that wasn't working. But definitely just rested for a while, got some food, and I figured, you know what? I'm like just exhausted. I have no desire to get into a hot car and drive around. So I figured I'd record a podcast and do it for you. And I guess before I go, uh, another artist left us, Anthony Bourdain. Uh, there's definitely been a lot of artists dying for a lot of different reasons. Whether some are drug related, which a lot of people who are depressed take drugs to mask it. So whether that's suicide or not, unintentional suicide, or just straight out doing it. There's a lot of artists dying, and it's crazy. It's insane. And Anthony Bourdain, unlike unlike Robin Williams, who had a long career and then ended it, I don't know, like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Bourdain seems more of a current, like he gained fame more recently. It seems like. I know he got I think he wrote a book and he got popular off of that, and then he started doing shows. But his shows are kind of where he solidified himself as like he transcended. If his original art form was culinary, he transitioned to just being a poet. Man, he's one of those people like a Bukowski who's able to like speak and write and say things that are very beautiful and very well put, and introduced a lot of people to a lot of different things. I love watching his shows. Um, 'Cause they never felt like food shows or travel shows, but they all felt like educational. They all had heart to them, and I became a fan of David Show when he started his own podcast, DVDASA, and I've met a lot of not met, but I've discovered a lot of other artists and podcasts through that podcast. And Bourdain had a relationship with him. He also had a relationship with Joe Rogan, who I'm a huge fan of Joe Rogan. Bourdain got into jujitsu not that long ago, not even 10 years ago, competing. Almost seemed like, he had a new zest for life or whatever. I don't know if he did or not. But he picked up jujitsu, fell in love with it. And yeah, I don't know. It's a tough thing. I mean, I've struggled with depression my whole life. I've had suicidal thoughts off and on throughout my life. First the one of the first times I can remember really contemplating suicide, it's like middle school, and it's bullying, but not only bullying at school. It's like, for me, I don't know about for everybody, but it's like you go to school, and because your home life is shit, you go to school tired and depressed and bummed out, and you become an easy target for other kids that want to release their aggression, because instead of attacking themselves like I was doing, they attack other people. So it was a lot of bullying, and not even that. It's like not even just bullying, but it's like bullying to the point where it's like not even teachers gave a fuck. It just seemed like nobody in reality gave a fuck that people were treating me like shit, you know? And slowly, you change things in your life, and you realize that like the limited options you see in front of you are only limited because you're young, or you're in a headspace where you don't necessarily have the vision to see clearly and see the bigger opportunities that are available, or the courses or trails or paths you can take to avoid the hardships or the things that are causing you. And it's I don't know, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. It's not just like it's just like a well put together kid that gets bullied at school is going to handle it a lot better than somebody that feels like they have nothing left in this world, and uh and every part of their existence is kind of a reminder how like nobody gives a fuck, you know. It's kind of like the mental where I was in middle school. And then it's like you grow up and you get, I mean, just emotional things. For me, I think I'm just on top of, probably having whatever issues that for me causes my depression, which I deal with. I'm better at dealing with it. I don't take medication. Um, there's been times where I felt like I should go, but it's like at the height of my hatred of working at Costco, like a few, 5 to 5 years before I eventually left Costco after 13 years. It was just a constant decline to a point where I felt so fucked up mentally because I was working. The pay was whatever. Pay's great for what I was doing. It was great. Benefits good. Whatever. But like I go to work and managers don't give a fuck. It's just constant like just this dull mediocre harassment that goes on. Like just whiny bitches at high school. It's just all high school again, or middle school actually. So you go into this place that you don't like to go because you want to do something else, you know? And if given the opportunity, I loved my job. I sold electronics. I was good at it. I had done it for a decade. It's just the management there wanted me to do other shit. Wanted everybody in the department to do other shit. So you go to it's like if they showed up, it's like as a manager, you show up to your job, and before you even clock in, you have whoever your superior is. It's like, hey, go do this other job that has nothing to do with you, and then repeat that like every day. And then if I ask you, it's like, what do you feel like your job is? And it's like every time you're like out, picking weeds or whatever. It's like, oh, I'm a lawn maintenance person, but my title is manager. Like that's what it was. It's like I'm the fucking basically I'm the new hire seasonal person that's doing just random bullshit instead of selling thousands and thousands of dollars worth of electronics. It's like, so I'm not a salesperson. I'm a fucking box person. I pick boxes out of aisles because that's what you're paying me to do. So I hated that. But at the same time, I was working on the podcast, working on the network, the podcast network that existed for a while. And then during that time, like I just couldn't balance everything and probably other things. I don't really know. Girlfriend at the time dumped me. And it's just like at that point, it's like, okay, like low. I mean, when I was with her, I was telling her, it's like, man, I'm fucked up. I should probably talk to somebody, but I never did. I'll talk to friends here and there, bring up things, but I'm not getting in. I'm a pretty private person, you know? So, after a few years, just kind of focusing on myself, just focusing on what I care about. And eventually, it got to a point where it wasn't worth it to me to work as much as I was at a place that showed me no respect. I'm not going to spend fucking 40 hours a week and then later drop down to part-time. I'm not going to spend my life working at a place that doesn't give a fuck or show me any respect for a decade of working there to pay my mortgage. At the time I had a condo, pay, car payment, pay insurance, pay all the bills. All the bills that come with, being an adult. And it's just like, I gave up all of those things. I figured out, took me a couple years, but I figured out it's like I need to get out of here. If I stay here, if I stay working at Costco, fucking paying my mortgage, doing the same shit for another 10 years, I would rather just put a bullet in my brain. I would rather be dead, you know? So I started thinking of like, how I need to get out of here. How do I get out of here? It's like, well, I can't get out of there and pay my mortgage. So it's like, okay, fucking get rid of everything. Nothing I own is worth. If I kill myself, it's all gone anyway. So let's try and make a life where it doesn't feel like I'm living in hell. Can I somehow engineer a way to live where I feel happy about my existence and not like just treading water or suffocating, just giving 110% of myself for a bunch of shit that means nothing. So I did, and whatever. And it helped. Helped a lot. I'm still not, I still get depressed. Fucking gave everything up, moved to Denver, and that failed. Fucking depressed as shit. But now it's like, I've kind of gotten used to it, and it's, thankfully I have friends that still believe in me and support me, and I have the opportunities that I have to continue to follow and pursue my dreams. But it's hard. It's hard. And life is never easy. But I try to focus on the good moments, and I really try to change my perspective. I try to change every aspect of something that just would cause me to go down those rabbit holes. So I try to avoid, and I'm not perfect. I probably would be more successful if I did go and talk to somebody, or, maybe in certain moments had gone on medication, maybe would have helped. I don't know. But I feel like I'm in a better place now, despite, outwardly a lot of people would look at me and say, well, to compare me now to compare back then when I was probably at the height of hating my life, people would look at me then and be like, oh, I have a beautiful girlfriend. I have a condo. I have a good job that I've been at for a long time. I have these side things that I'm working on, which are doing well. It's like, from the outside, it seems like everything is amazing. But on the inside, I'm fucking hate everything because I can't spend enough time with my girlfriend, because I'm passionate about, the artwork that I do, the podcast that I do, the collective podcast collective that I set up. So I can't give that, because I was doing all these things before her, and I'm not giving them up for somebody. This is what I do, what I create. This is all I have. All I have left is just what I can create, and hopefully I'm able to put it all together and financially make money and do what I love to do, and not have to live in a world where I hate everything. But I couldn't balance the girlfriend, and maybe that wouldn't have worked out anyway. I don't know. I couldn't balance the work. I couldn't. It's just like I slowly just realized I need to fucking start cutting shit out of my life. After she left, it was just like before I started going out with her, I was like, fuck I have no desire for a relationship. I'm just focusing on my shit. And then, she was kind of somebody from the past that came back, and and great years, heartbroken, but she didn't believe enough. She didn't, like, I see movies and TV shows and know people, and it's just like, there's stories of like these relationships where they were together before somebody becomes successful, and maybe that's just a sign that I'm not going to reach whatever kind of successful is, depending on your definition of it. But yeah. So it's just, things crumble. Plans cancel. Life sucks. Sometimes. Life is amazing sometimes. And I don't know. For me, it's I've been able to work through things. I have more confidence in myself than I've ever had. But also I've also never had like Anthony Bourdain had, I think heroin addiction. Like there's certain substances when you get off of them. Like I know, like Anthony Kiedis, Red Hot Chili Peppers. He was addicted to heroin, and speed and cocaine and all that shit. But the heroin thing is like that never ending. Same thing with John Frusciante. It's just one of those things that it's like it's always with you. It always has that itch. And maybe with Bourdain, I don't know. I haven't had those kind of drug dependencies. Alcohol, weed, played around with pills for a while, but never got into them at all. But I don't know. And it's like everybody wants to post when somebody dies, like call the suicide hotline. I have never in my life it's like I'm not going to call a stranger. I mean, definitely there's probably times where it'd be nice to talk to somebody, but it's like for me, I have to trust you to talk to you. And I'll talk to people, like there's people I trust that I'll talk to, but I'm not open. I don't share a lot of things. If anybody asks me anything, I'll answer the question. But I'm not one to volunteer information. It's like I don't know. I don't know what to volunteer. I don't know. For some people don't need to know my shit. You know, it's not your fucking business. But some people probably should know my shit more. I guess I don't know. But it's a fucking bummer that Bourdain died. It's a fucking bummer all these people are dying. And I don't know if you need help, you need somebody to talk to, you can reach out to me and I'll try to, if I see it, because I'm not good at seeing my shit. But if you wanted to if you're desperate and you want to throw out something and I see it, I'll get back. Like I'll have a conversation. I'm not a hotline. I'm not a professional. I'm not perfect. I have problems. But if for whatever reason you're comfortable opening up to me and, you know, whether it's on Twitter or Instagram or email, through the website or whatever, and I see it, I'm not going to intentionally avoid anything. But if I see your message and I read it, I'll get back to you. And I'm pretty good at getting back to people for the most part. If it's an emergency, don't contact me if you're just like, if it's mindless stuff, if it's serious, if you're going through hard times, hit me up. I'm not going to be able to fix them, right? But if you want to vent, you want to let it out, I'll listen, right? Sometimes it only takes just one person to care a little bit at the right time. But I don't know. Bourdain was awesome. Go watch his stuff. I'm getting emotional. Go watch his stuff. He's, you know, it's a tough thing, man. It's really sad. It's sad to see artists die, but it's sad to see anybody kill themselves. And I know there's a lot of pain. People are in pain for a lot of different things, whether it's, their childhood, relationship, life, surroundings. You could be surrounded by a bunch of vampires working at a job that doesn't give a fuck about you. And it's not easy. It's tough. It's just you feel tired, exhausted. Life is exhausting. Just want to sleep. I know. I get those I get those days, I get those weeks, I get those months where it varies. Um but I don't know. Find find something out there. Or don't. I mean, who knows? Maybe suicide is like an answer to the pain on some level, you know? Maybe we should feel happy for Bourdain that he's no longer in pain. Cuz that's the thing, man, when you're living with depression, it's like you're living with emotional pain that just never goes away. It's like your arm feeling broken all the time despite there not being a fracture. And you just live with it. And people say toughen up. Oh, I get sad sometimes. Oh, I know what depression is. I got dumped once and I get sad sometimes. Like, oh yeah? Did you feel like there was just nothing in the world that was worth living for? You know? Just easier. I love sleeping anyway. Might as well keep sleeping forever. There's a lot of things you can talk yourself into shit. Find something, create something. You don't have to be an artist. You don't have to be a good artist. Most people that make money aren't good at what they do. Most people are pretty mediocre. Just because they make money doesn't mean they're good. The movie that grosses the highest amount isn't the best movie that's ever been made. Just because it breaks records. Music that is busting the charts open is not great music. Like Drake is not good music. Kanye, not good music. And you might like it, but it's not. It's it is what it is. I don't want to talk shit about it. Maybe that stuff is what's keeping you going. Which hopefully you have better quality work to follow than that. But yeah. R.I.P. Anthony Bourdain. I have nothing left to say. That took a lot longer than I thought it would. But it's a good episode, I think, people. Go watch The Incredibles. Go watch Parts Unknown and all the different Bourdain shows that have been published. It's so we're so lucky that truly creative people, when given the opportunity, can make a lot of work today. 20 years ago, Bourdain may have had a show. Now he's had multiple shows and produced books and things like that. We have, when Joe Rogan dies, we're going to have a lifetime of podcasts to listen to. Like, he will have recorded more podcasts than a percentage of humans will have lived. We're lucky to be in a time where, like, I don't know. I don't want to keep going on this, but we should really feel lucky. And because we're so connected, if you are going through a hard time, reach out. I don't know. It's like, as somebody that's gone through it, it's like the last thing you want to do is talk to anybody. You just kind of want to sleep and let it mull over. I don't know what the best course of action is as somebody that, like, I just kind of get through it and I do things that I know. I just kind of keep up with certain things in my life that maybe nobody else gives a fuck about, but it's like, at least I'm going to do this little thing. I don't know. I'm rambling on at this point. That's it, everybody. Thank you for listening to another, or watching, if you're over at Patreon, patreon.com/Inspired Disorder. Thank you for watching another podcast. You can follow me, hit me up on Twitter or Instagram at Ray Taylor. My website is inspireddisorder.com. Patreon.com/Inspired Disorder are all the links. Go sign up. Early adopters are only $1 over at Patreon for the first 100. Then it goes up to $3, and that's where you get all the video version of this show, making of videos for Photoshops, artwork, first look at artwork, massive discounts on everything that I sell over at inspireddisorder.com. Have a great week, everybody. Fingers crossed nobody else dies. I mean, my biggest thing is I wish politicians had more depression. I really wish the people that were responsible for the shitty fucking culture we live in. Like, there's good people. Bourdain, positive influence on our culture. We have a fucking racist, failed reality TV show host who has made a career off of ripping companies off, ripping the small guy off, fucking over people. He's fine. All the people that support him, they're fine. None of them are fucking committing suicide. Oh, yeah, sure. No. It's disappointing. It's disappointing we're losing artists here, people. Thank you all for listening. Have a great week. I'm out of here. Peace out!
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Inspired Disorder podcast. Embedded signals within this podcast have reprogrammed your natural thinking patterns. Side effects may include lack of inhibitions, erectile dysfunction, anal leakage, transcendental communication with beings from 4 of the 7 primary dimensions. In the event of a tear in space-time, please keep your hands down and feet together. Any loss of life or limbs due to interdimensional travel is not the responsibility of this podcast.